What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode on the OTB Sports YouTube channel and or podcast, wherever you are listening. Welcome back. It is Monday morning, and we have a lot of stuff to go through. Really interesting weekend in sports. You got the Dodgers winning the World Series. Congrats to them. All-time game. I mean, the game 7 of the ages. You dream about those kinds of games in sports as fans and as athletes. So congratulations to the Dodgers. Very well ran organization. They deserve it. Let's talk about some football, man. Obviously, Sunday games. I want to start off with the thriller, the 90-point thriller of the slate, early window slate. That is the Bears and the Bengals. The Bengals. Wow. I mean, you just rip your heart right out. Bears and Caleb Williams drive down the field after. Well, before that, let's get to that. The Bears were up 41-27, I believe, with about 5 minutes left in the game, and the Bengals go down and they score. They leave Caleb Williams about 45, 50 seconds. Caleb Williams leads the Bears down the field with 50 seconds left and throws a 35-yard game-winning touchdown to Colston Loveland with 25 seconds left in regulation. Colston Loveland, obviously a big topic for the Bears. People were saying they missed on the pick. No, people, sometimes it takes time, you know. You got to give the young guys some time to shine, and that's what Colston Loveland did. Colston Loveland proved, I think, in that game that he can be capable of being a tight end one for the Bears, and he's too big for a cornerback to guard, and he's too fast for a linebacker to cover. So, hell of a player. I think him and Tyler Warren are definitely still duking it out for top tight end of their class, but we will see. Congrats to the Bears with hell of a win. I do want to touch on that a little bit, how they're getting these wins, but let's just talk about the Bengals, man. I won't make this too long, I promise. 94 missed tackles for 645 yards, most in the NFL coming into this game. Now, what do? In this game alone, the Bengals defense misses 15 tackles to allow 133 yards after the missed tackle, and that's including the game-winning touchdown that Colston Loveland scored. So if you're the Bengals and the Bengals defense, I mean, this is a joke. What they are doing to Joe Burrow is very concerning, and I don't know where you go from here. I think they're going to be a big seller at the deadline. Rumors are they're moving Trey Hendrickson. Just not a good team, not a good organization, just ran very poorly. And you get what you deserve in this league. And to talk about the Bears, I do want to give credit. It was a great win, but man, it seems like every time they do win, it feels like it takes a lot. Like it's very hard for the Bears. You know what I mean? Raiders, Commanders, Bengals. You combine those 3 games, fairly easy opponents. Those 3 games combined, a winning margin of 7. So I do like where the Bears are going. I think that it is getting better, but just still some concern, I think. And I want to give credit to Ben Johnson. I mean, these trick plays that he's running, throwing it to the backup quarterback, having the backup quarterback toss it back across the field. Caleb Williams catching a passing touchdown. I mean, the creativity we know with Ben Johnson is unreal. And I think that they do deserve credit for this win. However, I do think it is a little bit concerning. And I think there's something that they'll get better at. I think they'll start winning games more convincingly. They'll start convincingly. They'll start closing out better. And that's all stuff I expect to come as the season goes. And as far as Caleb Williams, he looked good. I know you guys know that I've been a little bit hard on him, but definitely a step in the right direction. He had 3 touchdowns. So props to the Bears and Caleb Williams in a absolute thriller. And I want to just point out Joe Flacco, man, 470 yards, 4 touchdowns, giving them absolute hell at 40 years old. I mean, what we are seeing is unreal. I think Joe Flacco deserves all the credit in the world. Bengals do not have the best O-line. Obviously, they do have weapons, and that's all he needs. And it does, raise the question a little bit. I mean, okay, so you can't really get better than 470 yards and 5 touchdowns, and you still lose the game. Like I said, it's just that defense, man. That defense is a bottom 2 in the NFL defense. And I think that the Bengals are a bottom tier ran organization, and bad stuff happens to bad organizations. And this is nobody's fault but theirs. And I do expect them to be sellers at the deadline. But we will see, man. We will see. Let's talk about the Vikings and the Lions. This was a very interesting game for me. Obviously, the whole world was waiting to see what JJ McCarthy had, and I think that he did look pretty good. Obviously, he didn't throw for 400 yards. You don't expect that. First game back. This was his first game on Sunday as a starter, I believe. So got to see him on red zone for the first time. And yeah, man, you go in and on the road in Detroit and you beat a great Lions team. JJ didn't look as rattled. He looked very good. He looked the part for the most part. And like I said, on the road versus a great Lions team, McCarthy completed 7 of 11 passes for 91 yards and a touchdown when blitzed. So that's a good sign that your rookie is seeing the heat, feeling the heat, getting the ball out. And that's what you have to do in this league. And that's one of the hardest things for a young quarterback to do is, face pressure and be able to operate and be able to think clearly and not make mistakes and keep pushing the ball down the field. So that's a very good sign. The Lions generated 18 pressures and 5 sacks, however, on JJ. That is tied for the second highest pressure rate by a defense in a game this season. Very impressive by the Lions defense, who has been a little up and down lately. Yeah, and JJ got the best of him, I think, and the Lions, credit to them. I don't think they necessarily played that bad, but the Vikings came in with a good game plan. Credit to KOC, very, very intelligent coach, had his guys ready, had his guys together, and this is what you get. When you're bought in as a team, which I think the Vikings were this week, you go on the road and you beat a team who everybody is in pretty much complete agreement that this is a Super Bowl contending team in the Lions. And the Vikings shake back on track. Pretty much a must win. They get the win in the division. And as for the Lions, I still do believe that they are a Super Bowl contender, but you got to. The good thing here is, in my opinion, when you do lose a game, if you're the Lions and you look back at the numbers, Jared Goff usually doesn't have terrible games, or it's not clear as day when you look at the box score that, oh, Jared Goff threw us this game. I mean, they scored points, you know what I mean? The defense let up points. It was just a good game, and they were on the short end of the stick. They had their chances to get back in it. And like I said, credit to the Vikings. They did what they had to do. They executed the game plan on the road, and JJ McCarthy looked good. That's all I can say. I mean, we got to see more, I know. But if you're a Vikings fan, I think you're encouraged from what you saw from JJ. It's not going to happen overnight, and the fact that it happened first game back, I think that that's a positive sign. I expect them to keep getting better and improving. But as for the Lions, I still think they are a Super Bowl contender. I still think that if they can play solid on defense and if they can just run the ball, that was something that was not there in this game. They could not effectively run the ball. If they can play smash mouth football, this is smash mouth football time of the year. It gets cold. You need to run the ball. You need these short passes to click. And I do expect the Lions to get it together. So definitely not all panic mode, but definitely something that they want to get cleaned up and get ready for their next games and make a run deep in the playoffs or potentially to a Super Bowl. Um, Big one here as a Panthers fan. I was watching this one with a very, very close eye. Panthers go into Lambeau and upset Jordan Love and the Green Bay Packers. Bryce Young led the Panthers on his 9th career game-winning drive in an upset win over the Packers in Green Bay. Huge win for the Panthers. They are now 5-4. Same record as the Chiefs. I know. Crazy stuff. Rico Dow, 130 yards, 2 touchdowns, 5.2 yards per carry. Just as efficient as it gets. The emergence of Rico Dow, now obviously undisputed starter for the Panthers. I absolutely love to see it. Bryce Young, man, 9 game-winning drives since the start of 2023, and that is tied for the most in the NFL in that span. I've seen fans online critique him for his play, even in this game when they win. I can't say that he's been playing the best, but they're winning football games, man. This is the Carolina Panthers. Credit to Dave Canales. He has came in and made this franchise a real deal team. This is not a joke of a team anymore. And that's what it was, let's be honest, for the couple years coming into this. I mean, 5-4, you get a win against the Packers, who everybody was talking about, Super Bowl this and Super Bowl that. You go in and it wasn't pretty, but I think that's what made this win so impressive. You beat them at their own game. You beat them in the trenches. You run the ball effectively on them. Dominant win. That Panthers defense is legit. J.C. Horn leading the helm on the secondary, and credit to the rush D. These guys are not letting teams run the ball on them. I know that James Cook went nuclear on them. That's an outlier game. They've been playing great rushing defense before that and this game, which is one of the big keys, in my opinion, to stopping the Packers. If you can limit Josh Jacobs' production, I think that you're in a good spot. I know Jordan Love is world class, but we've seen Jordan Love throw some questionable passes in this game. Really, really bad passes. And if you're the Packers and you're a Packers fan watching this game, you got to think in the back of your mind, man, are we really a Super Bowl team? Is Jordan Love going to be able to stay consistent enough to give us a chance? And Jordan Love, no question, when it's his day, he is a top 5 quarterback in the NFL, in my opinion. He has an arm. The way that he spins the ball is so impressive to me. And I think that they'll be fine. I don't know if they're a Super Bowl contender anymore, in my opinion. I mean, it's just too many ups and downs, too many close games against teams that, I mean, on paper, you should be blowing out. I know it's the NFL any given Sunday, but there's teams around the league that are just handling teams, and you expect the Packers to be one of them, especially against a Panthers team coming off a really bad loss. But man, love my Panthers. I'm glad that we got the win. 5-4 is huge for Carolina. I think that they're only a couple pieces away from really being a playoff threat. I don't know about this year, but I'm loving the direction of the program. Like I said, Dave Canales, fresh, young, offensive-minded head coach. I'm a huge fan of him, and I thank the Panthers for taking this team serious and giving the fans something to watch. These boys fight hard. Credit to the Panthers in a huge win on the road in Lambeau. All right, let's talk Denver at Houston. Very, very ugly game. The optics, if you love offense, this wasn't the game that you wanted to watch. But man, what a great football game overall. Denver continues their fourth quarter magic with a walk-off field goal to beat Houston. CJ Stroud did come out of this game early in concussion protocol, so we hope that CJ is all good to go. But yeah, man, still got to give credit to the Broncos. They did finish, and credit to the Texans. They stayed in it without CJ Stroud, and they fought. Davis Mills looked decent, although it wasn't enough. Man, Derek Stingley Jr. I remember when he got drafted, they were talking about, oh, it's Sauce and Sting. Sauce goes first, Sting goes second. Forget all of that. Derek Stingley Jr. was the corner of that draft, and he is proving it. Derek Stingley lined up across Cortland Sutton on 27 out of 34 of Sutton's routes, allowing one interception for a 30-yard touchdown across 2 targets. So he did get the best of him on that one play, but just absolute lockdown corner in Derek Stingley Jr. I thought that both sides of the ball defensively played very well. I think they did what they wanted to do, and it just came down to not having CJ Stroud. And I think that the Broncos are in a great spot. I mean, you got the Chiefs losing, so that helps. You don't get the Chargers loss. It was close. They almost did lose to the Titans, but you're confident in where you are if you're the Broncos, I think. And Bo Nix looked good. 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Little stuff he has to clean up, but he's a young quarterback. Sean Payton's going to keep the guardrails up and keep his guy in it. I do love Bo Nix. I'm a huge Bo Nix guy. And I think that the Broncos are a Super Bowl contending team if Bo Nix is on, and I think he will be. And the perfect storm is brewing, right? We're getting to the time of the year where it's getting cold. Trench work and lines matter. O-line, D-line, and I think the Broncos are in a good spot in both of those categories. I mean, this Denver defense, top of the league. Absolutely run stoppers. You got Nick Bonito, who is a monster. Seems like he's affecting every play, even when he doesn't get on the stat sheet, which is the tell of a great defensive lineman. And as far as how far Denver can go, I think that the Super Bowl is the ceiling for them. I think that they can win a Super Bowl. They have the coach, they have their quarterback. Like I said, it's if their quarterback, who is still young, mind you, can keep it together, which I do think that he will. I do think that they continue this run, and I mean, obviously, I'm not saying they're going to win out, but definitely a real deal playoff team, and I don't think anybody wants to see them. Let's talk Patriots, Falcons. 6 straight wins for New England. Despite Michael Penix's solid performance of 221 yards and 3 touchdowns, Drake London as well had 3 of those touchdowns and 118 yards. I mean, it comes down to the little things, the special teams. How many games this year in the NFL have we seen come down to special teams plays? How many games? It is such an important part of your football team, and it's really starting to show this year and this season for all teams in particular. The missed PAT for Atlanta gives the Patriots the chance to improve to 7-2. If you're Atlanta, you fight hard to stay in that game, and you basically go and tie it if you're the offense, and the kicker comes out and they can't make the PAT. Definitely a kicking problem in Atlanta, but special teams, they matter, and they matter a lot more than more people would like to think. Drake May with another solid game, man. He spreads it around to everyone, and I mean everyone. It's hard to game plan for the Patriots pass game, not only because one, Drake May is such an elite quarterback in my opinion, super early in his career, but he doesn't make that many mistakes, and he spreads it around. It's hard to look at a Stephon Diggs or a Kayshon Boutte and say, all right, we got to take him out the game, and we can beat this Patriots offense. It's not that easy. Drake May spreads the ball around. You never know whose day it's going to be. And I think that just makes it that much harder to game plan against him. Drake May becomes the 4th quarterback in NFL history to record 200 plus passing yards and 100 plus passer rating in 8 consecutive games within a season. The only other quarterbacks to achieve this milestone all won the MVP in those seasons. Aaron Rodgers, 2011 and 2020, Tom Brady, 2007, and Peyton Manning in 2004. This is absolutely elite company to be in. If you're Drake May and the Patriots, I mean, the sky is the limit. I think they got their guy, no questions about it, and they're only going to get better from here, people. I want to remind you that New England came into this season with one of the worst ranked overall weapons on offense. And now guys that everybody called trash and said they weren't this and that, they're producing, and a lot of it is because of Drake May. So heartbreaking loss if you're the Falcons. Love to see it from the Pats, man. Just an overall great win. I mean, not every win is pretty, and I know that people give them crap for their easy schedule, but people, they were terrible last year. This is how it works. You know, you're terrible last year, you get a little bit of an easier schedule. So that's not their fault. And the Patriots are 7-2, and they're legit. They're legit as it can get. And I think it'll take them beating a really good team for people to see that, which there's no problem with, in my opinion. I mean, people have their stuff about the Colts and stuff. So speaking of the Colts, we'll go ahead and get right into that. Colts at Steelers. I did have a feeling coming into this game that this was going to be the letdown spot for the Colts. I mean, they've been red hot, playing very good football on both sides of the ball. Number one offense, passing and rushing coming into this game. Daniel Jones turns the clock back to Giants Daniel Jones and throws 3 picks and had a fumble. JT held to 45 yards rush. Credit to the Steelers defense, who we've been talking about on this channel a lot, saying that $165 million for a defense that can't stop a nosebleed is a lot, but credit to them. They did show up. Mike Tomlin had his guys ready. Steelers defense had a season-high 6 takeaways against the Colts. That's their second game of the season with 5+ takeaways. Jalen Ramsey, a lot of talk about Jalen Ramsey at corner. A lot of fans were calling for him to move to safety. I think that they listened. Jalen Ramsey aligned as safety 83% of his snaps. That's the first time that he's played safety over 30% of his snaps in a game. So credit to Mike Tomlin for adjusting and moving pieces around. I think that is something you'll see more out of this defense. And the Colts, I mean, bad loss, but you're still number one seed in the AFC. So absolutely nothing to kind of cry over. You know what I mean? Daniel Jones had a bad game. Might be a little bit concerning for some fans that he kind of turned back into Giants Danny Dimes there for a game. But I think they'll be fine. I don't think that they're buying too much into this loss. It is the NFL. You go on the road and you play the Steelers. And credit to Aaron Rodgers, he looked good. I believe he's top 3 in passing touchdowns, and I think he's like a game behind. All good around if you're the Steelers, and if you're the Colts, I don't think that this is too big of a deal. You're still good. You're 7-2. Everything will be fine. You lost to a Steelers team who is by no means a easy team or a lock to win against. That's football, right? NFL Sunday, any given Sunday. Um, KC, Kansas City, and the Bills. Bills defend their home turf and get it done against the Kansas City Chiefs. Dalton Kincaid and the James Cook Show. Chiefs could not stop the run. I thought that was a big key coming into this game for Kansas City. And credit to the Bills defense. They stepped up. They made Mahomes uncomfortable all night. They did not allow them to run the ball effectively. And the Bills defense pressured Patrick Mahomes on 52% of his dropbacks. That is the highest pressure rate against Mahomes across their 10 matchups since 2020. So the defense made it a point to make Patrick Mahomes uncomfortable, and they did. They succeeded in that. And on the other hand, Josh Allen looked as comfy as he could. You saw him after the game. He said he calls it slotted. When you feel the ball, you feel everything's right, you feel comfy. And that's what we saw on the field from Josh Allen. He looked very comfy. They were in control pretty much all game. Chiefs came back at the end, had a little bit of a late scare, but credit to the Bills, man. 5 straight wins against KC in the regular season. Now everybody's saying, Josh, you got to do it in the postseason. And I agree, Josh, you got to do it in the postseason, but you can't deny this win from the Bills. That's 5 straight versus KC. Chiefs are 5-4 and now 8th in the AFC, which makes it a little bit difficult if you are the Chiefs. It makes it a little bit harder to get into the playoffs. You got to worry about the Texans who are still coming up. Um, the Baltimore Ravens who are still in the hunt. KC's in the hunt themselves now, and it's not going to get easier. They got a pretty beefy schedule. Played up to this point, especially they were battle tested, which I spoke about in another video. If you're the Chiefs, not one that you can just hang your head on and just soak in sorrow. You got to get back, get it together. You got to win games. It's going to be harder. You built yourself a hole. You dug yourself a hole. Now you got to dig yourself out. It is going to be an uphill battle for the Chiefs. But when you have Patrick Mahomes and you have Andy Reid, I do believe that this team can still make a playoff run. And if they get in, all you got to do is get in. And if they're in, they are the favorite to win the Super Bowl. I think every team knows that. And I think even with the win last night, the Bills know that. So credit to the Bills for getting the W. I still believe, like I said, that Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs can make a Super Bowl run, but you got to get in first. And that's all they're worried about right now. It is going to be an uphill battle for them, but I think that they will figure it out. Um, Jags in a thriller beat the Raiders in overtime despite 4 touchdowns from Geno Smith and a monster game from Brock Bowers. Brock Bowers, 127 yards and 3 touchdowns. If you're the Raiders, man, it's a tough look. The season's over. It's pretty much done. I don't know what they do at the deadline. Do you move Max Crosby? Do you blow this entire thing up? Obviously, quarterback is on the top of their list going into this draft. And the Jags improved to 5-3. Jags. Jags is one of those teams. I know that they are 5-3, but I really find myself asking, what is their ceiling? How far can T-Law take a Jaguars team who, in my opinion, hasn't looked all that good? I know that they're 5-3, and you can ask any Jacksonville fan, they will probably take that. But with Travis Hunter out on the IR, he wasn't looking the best before he got hurt. You got to ask yourself, and you got to think back to that draft. I think that was a miss from the Jags. I think they gave up a lot to get a player who was very frail in frame and expect him to play both sides of the ball. I can't say I didn't see this one coming. I hope Travis gets better. I just thought that that was a miss on the Jags part in drafting him that high and giving up that much to get him to trade up. And another thing, I think that the Jags are winning in spite of T Law. He has not looked good. And I think this was just another mid T Law game. And honestly, that's what I think he is. I don't try to throw the word around too loosely, but I think that T Law is a mid quarterback. I think that the Jags are a good all around team. They play good defense, I think. I think that they have plenty enough weapons to make it happen, but I think that they are winning in spite of T Law. I think that T Law hasn't looked his best. And how long have we been waiting on it? How long are we going to give T Law before he really shows us? You're not a rookie anymore. The flashes of greatness and this and that, they only buy you but so much time after your first and second year. You know, he's been in the league plenty long. It's time to show something. It's time to show it consistently. Why are we week in, week out asking ourselves, is T Law a guy? Is T Law the guy? I think that that's a problem. And what we're seeing is you got the teams around the league, QBs are so thin, they're paying these people who they don't really know are like, look at Tua, look at T Law. Like, I think that those are two contract, Brock Purdy. I think that those are contracts that people are looking around like, well, damn, Sam Darnold's over here balling, getting paid less than Geno Smith. Mac Jones is balling, looks just like Brock, even better, maybe, some could argue. This quarterback draft isn't looking that good, folks. I know you got Ty Simpson and Mendoza and this and that, but QBs are thin, so I don't know what the Jags do. You already paid T-Law, so you're forced to ride this out. I like Liam Cohen. I think he's a good coach. I like what he does. But like I said, I still think that the Jags are winning in spite of T-Law. And I think that that is a problem when you give a guy that much, you draft him that high. He has all these expectations coming into the NFL, and he doesn't produce. And when I say don't produce, I don't mean he's been a bum. I just say he's been very middle of the pack. And for what he's paid and where he was picked and how much time he's had, I don't think you can be middle of the pack. I don't. All right. We're going to talk about the primetime game. I want to give the Seahawks their credit before we get into the main topic on this one. Sam Darnold, MVP level football player right now. I do think that he should be up there at least 2 or 3, if not first. 21 out of 24, 330 yards with 4 touchdowns. JSN, 9 catches for 130 yards. That Seahawks defense gets a couple guys back. They look like the best defense in the league. Let's be real. I mean, the last couple weeks has been lights out on both sides of the ball. I love what they're doing. I love the head coach. I love the only thing I can say is that they need to find a consistent run game, especially going into the playoffs, which I obviously think that they will make the playoffs, but you know that can be figured out. You have the backs for it. You have the backs to do it. But I mean, Sam Darnold is lighting this NFL up, man. JSN looking like the best receiver in the league. Love what Seattle's doing. I want to talk about what the Commanders are doing that I don't love, however. This is a tough one. That was a tough watch. And I'm going to try to be understanding. I'm going to try to understand it from the Commanders side. You've been struggling. Your offense has had no rhythm all season. You are down 30 points. Maybe you want to see if you can find something, just get guys some touches, get guys a couple touchdowns at the end, whatever. Just find something to take into next week, right? But what you don't do is you don't call a read option on the goal line for your franchise quarterback who's in the game with 7 minutes left, down 30 points. You don't do that. And what happens? Jaden Daniels runs, puts his arm out to kind of catch himself, and he breaks his arm. I believe it's a dislocated elbow. I'm not sure too much of the actual injury. I don't think that's come out yet. When it does, I'll touch on it. But Dan Quinn, you should be ashamed. The Commanders should be ashamed. And bad organizations, a lot of the times, they stay bad. And what have the Commanders been? They've been bad. They had one good season last year with their rookie quarterback. And what do? They have arguably one of the worst off seasons in terms of getting him help and getting him protection and getting him a pass rush on defense, or a formidable defense. They failed him. They didn't get him any of that. That defense is a joke. He has to go out there and score 40 every week to give them a chance, and he can't do that. He can't do that. That offense is not good enough to do that week in, week out. And like I said, bad organizations stay bad. RG3 all over again. You lose your franchise quarterback for the rest of the season because he was in a game that was a 30-point game with 7 minutes left. And now you don't have him. Bad organizations stay bad, folks. It's the truth. Look at the Browns. Look at the Titans. Bad. Something's got to change. I don't know if Dan Quinn's the guy anymore, especially not after this. If you're a Commanders fan, you have to feel absolutely heartbroken because you're watching RG3 happen all over again. And it's sad to see a young, talented quarterback who was already beat and bruised go down and snap his arm like that on live television because of your incompetence, Dan Quinn. Because you guys can't get anything going, so in your mind, you have to leave him out there to try to find something. And what happens? The Commanders lose their franchise quarterback for the rest of the season, and who knows going into the next season. Really bad stuff. Bad organizations stay bad. I hope that Jaden Daniels is okay. I hope he can get back as soon as possible. But they failed him. The Commanders failed Jaden Daniels, and they should be ashamed for that. That is all for today, folks. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. We will be back. Make sure you follow all the socials. We're posting multiple times a day, touching on everything going on. So make sure you guys check that out. It's been your boy Dave, man. Peace.